I think it's great to see that large platforms like OpenAI, Sony, the BBC, and Adobe are starting to implement these standards. But they need to be made a lot more secure and trustless by pairing these open standards with an actually open registry like a blockchain to verify the provenance of this content. So I'm sure things are headed that way. Matcha Dex Aggregator finds you the best prices in DeFi. More on them later in the show. Hello everyone, this is Crypto with Cami, where we go through all the main headlines in crypto and DeFi in the past week in 30 minutes or less. This is the show for the week starting February 12th. And before we get to it, please like and subscribe to the Defiant. One of the biggest news this week that we'll cover didn't come from crypto, but does have crypto implications. OpenAI unveiled its video generation model called Sora. It's pretty wild. We'll go over that in a bit and I'll give you my take. Meanwhile, markets continue heating up with Bitcoin topping 50K and Ether crossing 2,800. There's more airdrops action with Starknet announcing its token launch, but not everyone was happy. We have more big name crypto announcements with Citibank and Telefonica, and a couple of headlines in the staking space, of course. Okay, on with OpenAI news. So OpenAI yesterday, Thursday, February 15, unveiled Sora. Here it is on the screen. Sora, it can, it's kind of like ChatGPT. It's a generative AI model that can create video from text. So you give it a description or even a still image, and Sora can create a 60-second movie-like scene with multiple characters, different types of motion and backgrounds. It's pretty amazing. I really recommend going through the website and seeing all the examples of video that they give. I'm sure if you're on Twitter, you've seen, the past couple of days, people tweeting these videos out, a couple of pirate ships in what looks like to be a cup of coffee, this incredibly realistic looking tropical bird, this underwater life that looks like it was created with like a kind of paper, I guess, and so on. It's just super realistic. And if this can be created with just a prompt like ChatGPT, it's, pretty mind-blowing. So what does this have to do with crypto? Every day, as we know, billions of images and videos are shared across the web. But as we're seeing, these AI tools means that the line between reality and fiction has blurred even further. I mean, these images, if you can just create them with a prompt, are pretty mind-blowing. They look extremely realistic. So they raise a critical question about authenticity, copyright, and trust in digital content. Deep fakes can become a real threat to personal security and even national security. So how do we know for sure that, for example, the image of a president making an announcement is real or generated by AI? In an example that's close to crypto, how do we avoid others using celebrities' likeness to scam people out of their money, for example? So that's where blockchain comes in. At its core, blockchain is a distributed ledger that records transactions across multiple computers, ensuring that once a piece of data is recorded, and this is crucial, it cannot be altered retroactively. So when an image or video is created, it can be registered on a blockchain along with its metadata, including details like the creators, the time of creation, and location. So this registration can create a unique digital fingerprint. The blockchain can take all of this information and use encryption to create a hash. And this becomes unique to the image. this hash is then immutable and can serve as a certificate of authenticity so that anyone anywhere can verify the provenance of a blockchain registered image or video by comparing its hash against the blockchain record. This would be, an ideal scenario. There already exists an off-chain version of this. And it's an open standard that's made to secure the provenance of digital content. It's called the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity, or C2PA, and it was formed through an alliance between Adobe, ARM, Intel, Microsoft, and Truepic. It's pretty interesting. This C2PA standard allows publishers, companies, and others to embed metadata in media for verifying its origin and related information. So C2PA isn't just for AI-generated images. The same standard is also being adopted by camera manufacturers like Sony, news organizations like the BBC, and others to certify the source and history and provenance of media content. So what's super interesting, and I had no idea, is that ChatGPT started including this C2PA metadata just since this week on February 12th. So this just happened. And you can use this site called Content Credentials. It's contentcredentials.org to verify if an image was generated by ChatGPT and DALL-E 3. It's really interesting. I had no idea you could do this, but I just tried it out. I generated a cat, of course, the internet's favorite animal, through DALL-E 3 and went to contentcredentials.org to see whether this site could verify that it was in fact created by DALL-E 3. So I just saved this image to my desktop and I dragged it here. And there it is. It says issued by OpenAI on February 15th, 2024. So this is really cool. So you can use this to verify whether the image you're looking at was created using AI. I think this is really cool, but I also think that this C2PA model could work a lot better if that metadata that is saving and the digital signature it uses to verify the content were stored on chain. So C2PA could use its metadata and store that on a blockchain, and that would ensure that the provenance cannot be tampered with or altered down the line. In the end, C2PA is great, but it is a centralized organization. It's a handful of companies control it. I would assume all of this information is stored in servers, which can be hacked. They can go down. They can be stolen. It can be leaked and tampered with. So not very secure. So I think this type of coalition would work a lot better if it was storing its information, again, on chain. It would also mean that anyone can verify the authenticity and history of digital content by checking its C2PA metadata against the blockchain record. And then the fact that if this process didn't rely on a single centralized authority, it just would improve trust among users of the platform, and people wanting to verify this kind of content. We could even go one step further and automate royalty payments to artists using smart contracts, but that would probably be still a ways away, as we know how hard that's been even with NFTs, but it would still be a really cool implementation of an on-chain content verification system down the line. So interestingly, I tried making a simple edit to this cat image I made with ChatGPT, and look what happened. So I just went to online paint and drew hearts over the cat, and then went back to this page and dropped it here. And it says no content credential. So what happened is that, just by making a couple of very, very simple surface level edits to the photo, this website, which can check for metadata credentials, couldn't detect that the original image was an AI generated image and that it was later edited. So there's definitely limitations to how far these credentials go. I think the way that things will evolve is that everyone will just assume that images and video without an authenticity certificate can be fake. So I think these proofs could even, extend into the legal realm, where only verified images can be used as evidence while others can't. We need a widespread provenance standard for content, ideally secured on chain, so that the public can regain trust in media and other content creators, and so that creators can protect their IP. I think it's great to see that large platforms like OpenAI, Sony, the BBC, and Adobe are starting to implement these standards. But they need to be made a lot more secure and trustless by pairing these open standards with an actually open registry like a blockchain to verify the provenance of this content. So I'm sure things are headed that way. Make your trades go further with Matcha, the DEX aggregator from 0x. Get the best prices on swaps with smart order routing and over 5 million tokens at your fingertips. Tap into more than 120 DEXs at once for the best value in DeFi and trade cross-chain for free across 7 networks. And with Matcha Auto, MEV protection will save you money as your trades settle quicker through private market makers. Trade on Matcha today. Now on to more directly crypto content, specifically crypto markets, which continue heating up. ETH has surged 16% in the past 7 days. It's now trading above 2,800 for the first time since May 2022. That's just before the 40 billion implosion of Terra. So interestingly, we've kind of recovered, at least price-wise, from that crash. Other interesting data points: on February 7th, the amount of Ether staked crossed 30 million ETH for the first time. And that's pushing the staking rate above 25%, an all-time high. Also, total value locked in DeFi stands at 49 billion, a 9-month high. So we're just under the 50 billion mark. And helping the ETH rally, of course, continues to be this speculation that there will be a spot ETH ETF approved in May. And this week, Franklin Templeton filed for its own Ethereum ETF. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is flirting. Well, that's what the headline says, but actually, it already topped 50,000 for the first time since December 2021. And what's fueling this continues to be Bitcoin ETF inflows. They are getting more and more substantial. Then, interestingly, part of the price rally is being driven by major financial institutions. We're seeing that financial firms are loading up on crypto. They are currently holding 59 billion in assets under management, according to CoinShares. The 60 billion mark has not been seen since the last week of February 2022. So, we're seeing more and more interest in crypto. In DeFi, the biggest news of the week was the Starknet Airdrop. The Starknet Foundation announced it will airdrop over 700 million STRK tokens to 1.3 million addresses on February 20th. Of course, Starknet is an Ethereum layer 2. They leverage zero-knowledge technology, and they currently have 180 million in TVL. And Starknet is developed by the Starkware company. So that more than half of the allocated tokens will go to past users of Starknet. Other eligible recipients include users of DYDX, Immutable X, RhinoFi, and SoRare, all of which use StarkX, an early iteration of Starkware's scaling technology. Notably, ETH stakers are due to receive nearly a quarter of the tokens of the airdrop in what may be the first major airdrop for users of Ethereum stakers. We might see this trend going forward, probably. So both solo stakers and holders of LSTs are eligible to claim STRK tokens. But not everyone was happy with the news. There was a bit of a backlash because previously some criteria had been leaked on what would be, on who would be eligible to claim STRK. But that turned out not to be the case. And people were, checking websites where they could see whether they could claim STRK. And when they saw that they only got a few tokens or none, they, went to Twitter to make their anger felt. So another focal point of the backlash was that 1.3 billion STRK tokens allocated to the Starkware team and investors will unlock on April 15th, less than 2 months after the token begins trading. Now, at the Defiant, we interviewed Eli Ben-Sasson, the co-founder and CEO of Starkware, and he said that the team has no intentions of cashing out of the token once the unlock hits. But he also said that, they've been building since even before 2018. Investors, the first investors that trusted in them, invested in the company in January of 2018. So, 6 years after that, I guess they feel like they have a right to get a bit of liquidity. So that's the Starkware news. And all right, on to big name announcements that we all love in crypto. We have here Chainlink Labs has teamed up with Telefónica, the Spanish telecom giant. The partnership was announced on February 14th. Nice Valentine's Day partnership. And the partnership allows Polygon-based smart contracts to query information from Telefónica and its subsidiaries. The chief business officer at Chainlink Labs said, bringing Telefónica's open gateway APIs on chain with Chainlink functions unlocks novel use cases and greater security for our industry. Now, Avalanche announced that Citibank completed a pilot on one of its testnets to explore permission tokenization trials. The trials were executed in partnership with investment and wealth management clients, including WisdomTree, Wellington Management, and ABN Bank. The bank tested use cases on Avalanche Spruce, an evergreen testnet designed for buy and sell side institutions, Avalanche said in a blog post. Now, PayPal stablecoin PYUSD is becoming more and more integrated in DeFi, and it's now the 10th largest stablecoin by market cap. So MorphoBlue, a DeFi lending protocol, announced a new vault supporting PYUSD. Liquidity providers can earn interest on PYUSD lent out to borrowers. The vault exclusively supports Lido's liquid staking token and backs tokenized US Treasury bill as collateral assets. All right, I'll run through the next headlines. Stardust is a blockchain gaming infrastructure provider, and they have integrated with Layer 1 network SUI, S-U-I, to streamline their process for developers launching Web3 games on the network. That was SUI, now on to SEI, S-E-I, another Layer 1 blockchain. And they have launched a second iteration of its DevNet. The upgrade enables developers to deploy code compatible with the EVM, Ethereum's virtual machine. And next piece of news, super interesting. Ethiopia is seeking to position itself as the next hub for large-scale Bitcoin mining firms. In a February 7 report from Bloomberg, Ethiopian Electric Power, the country's national power monopoly, has inked deals with 21 Bitcoin mining companies. Super interesting. All right, prominent layer 2s on Ethereum are readying to embrace a new standard for rollups. The new standard is designed to improve the compatibility of smart contracts with existing hardware and software vendors, including Apple and Android. For example, the standard could facilitate transaction signing via biometric authentication on mobile devices. In another coalition, liquid restaking protocols EtherFi, Renzo, and Swell announced they partnered to launch a tri-liquid restaking token pool on Balancer. Liquidity providers can earn points for all three LRT providers, in addition to points for EigenLayer. And finally, tax season is here for the US, and we've got your back with a guide on how to navigate taxes if you're a crypto holder. And that's it. Those are the biggest headlines for this week. Let me know what you think about AI and deepfakes and how and if blockchain can help with providing content provenance. And yeah, thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, subscribe, recommend us, and see you all here next week.